Spooky made it easy for me. See, usually I have to try and guess when there's going to be some sort of announcement or reveal in the world of pinball, but Spooky just flat out told us this week that the Rob Zombie Spook Show International reveal would be today, Friday at noon, and boy, that made getting this episode... Hold on, folks. I have to, look at my notebook. That made getting this episode 209 of Coast to Coast Pinball really easy. Let's go. Welcome to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It's a commentary, and I'm a man out of quarters. How are you? Back in California, I took my last road trip of the year. Well, let's see. I took my last work road trip of the year, and I was in New York. I got to play a bunch of pinball, modern pinball. Worked on my not-so-secret little project that will be debuting very, very soon. Might have taken a little jaunt over to the second city, to the Windy City, to Chicago, Illinois, and played a little pinball at a big place that builds a lot of pinball. And that'll also be involved in my little project that we'll be unveiling very soon. And I'm back in San Diego. It rained in San Diego. It's a Friday after a long double week of travel and work and all sorts of good stuff. And Spooky Pinball revealed Rob Zombie Spook Show International today, and it sort of blew up Pinside. The interwebs of pinball exploded. We had high hopes. I speak for you and me, friendly listener. We as a collective pinball community had high hopes for this game. We knew they had an artist of high quality. This is a theme that, though possibly narrow in scope to some, plenty wide for the outlook for one Spooky Pinball LLC out of Benton, Wisconsin. And they already had, I think, over maybe 700 names, I believe, on their list of folks interested in possibly purchasing a Rob Zombie pinball machine. They're going to build 300 of them. I think we all know those facts. The reveal came out. Emails were sent out. Those of us on the list got the email saying you have a week to let us know if you're buying one. I will tell you that I have been on the fence on this game. I have no space in my beautiful little small condo here in lovely San Diego, where we record episode 209 for you, not live, here on Friday, December 11th, 2015. But I don't have any space. And I have a wife, beautiful wife, lovely wife, amazing wife, smart, talented, harder worker than me, better, nicer person than me. She doesn't really like horror themes. She doesn't really like scary things. She doesn't really like grotesque things. And, well, I don't know if you've ever seen any of those Rob Zombie movies, or seen his stage show, or seen just, the general imagery of Rob Zombie is horror, it is scary, it is gory. It's not really up beautiful Teresa's alley, if you would. And I kind of told her, well, I'm going to be on the list, I'll take a look. But see, I had this thing, in the back of my head. I want the game, because I want to support Spooky Pinball, sure, that's part of me, but I can't just be supporting everybody I want. I want to support Dutch Pinball, I want to support Highway Pinball, I want to support everybody. I do. I support Stern Pinball. I have a Metallica here. I've supported Spooky Pinball. I have America's Most Haunted. I want to support used Doctor Who pinball machines out there in the world. Really, I do. But I can't just throw $6,000 around. However, when the prospect is a game limited in number, which guarantees the resellability of one game, certainly, and it's a rock and roll theme. I like rock and roll bands. I like rock and roll pinball machines. And it might have a very unique and great art package, which we were waiting to see. I'm interested. And then you couple that with a layout, a game, a set of shots, and a feel and a vibe that has not been done in a long time. I'm really interested. And you know what? I saw the package. I looked at it. I'm not the biggest horror guy in the world either, although I really like that sort of dark type stuff and theme and content for pinball machines. I think it plays well. I looked at it. I looked at the changes made to the game. I actually spoke with a couple people in pinball about the game, kind of in depth. Went back and looked at the Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave videos and check those out, which you can see the original, what this game started out as. If you go to youtube.com/Coast2Coast Pinball, there's a first look at Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave from a couple years ago. And you can see the evolution of this game. I went back and looked at that, and when the reveal came, you know what? I'll pay it off over time. $1,000 deposit. I was in. You know, I'm trying to buy Walking Dead right now. Still probably going to do that. I'm very interested in Game of Thrones. There's used games I want. Very interested in Alien, but something about the whole package here, the layout being very different, and also, I will be honest with you, I think that it'll be a great game for me to get, play, and if I am not fully in love, I think it'll be an easy game for me to move to a friendly listener of the show who didn't get in on this game, since there is only 300 being built, and I think the demand far, far exceeds the production capabilities of Spooky Pinball LC. So, let's do this. Let's talk to Charlie Emery, shall we?
Call the people.
I'd like to welcome back to Coast to Coast Pinball, Mr. Charlie Emery. How are you, sir?
Extremely tired, Nate. How are you?
I'm good. It must be really rough having to just take all that money from everybody all day long.
Yeah. It's exhausting. My back is sore from carrying the bags to the bank. It's rough. Really tough.
All right, so the day is here finally. We had the Rob Zombie Spook Show International reveal today at noon in some time zone. I'm not sure what time zone it was noon in when that happened.
Eastern, sir.
Eastern. Okay, thank you. So it hit, and so I'm sure it's just like, you know, so strenuous and stressful putting that out there for the first time, because you think it's awesome, you know it's awesome on some level, and you're just hoping that some people agree with you.
You're not wrong. I posted a little I posted more on Pinside today than I think I have all of 2015 combined. If that doesn't tell you my nerve level, I was pretty freaking nervous, man. I don't get worked up about too much, but when it's something you've put your heart and soul into for this long, to throw it out there and knowing to an extent it's going to get ripped to shreds, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I gotta say, we were treated very kindly today. What a day!
Yeah, I mean, really, really positive feedback. I think that maybe the only, if I want to go negative here a second, the only complaints that I could decipher, and granted I was working most of the day and could only pick and choose my spots on Pinside, was hey man, I just wish I could have bought one, and and hey man, like I did see some people, serious questions, saying I only have 7 days to decide. And then I saw a lot of other people going, yeah, do you need 7 days to decide?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good negative to have, I guess, if you want to call it that.
So you guys have a list of people who showed interest in the game. And you took the first 300 people, and you called that the initial 300 list. You sent everybody the email today, which I got. It's basically said you have a week to let us know if you're in. Here's how to send us a deposit. What percentage, if maybe you don't want to share us, but what percentage of that 300 do you think did not, or gave you a negative and said we're not going to do it, opening up room for people behind them in line?
How about 3?
Wow.
Yeah, and to sum it up, essentially what KT did this morning, and we were going crazy last night, and I don't think either one of us slept very well. When you're getting ready to launch something like that, and we are not Stern. We don't have this whole marketing team and everything behind it. It's us. So you don't want to screw it up. You want to make sure that it's fairly clear, and yeah, we're going to make a mistake here and there, and we do our best. But it basically went out to the first 300 people on the incredibly long sales list. And we'll give those people 7 days to decide. I can tell you at this point, out of those 300 in the first day, about half the Rob Zombies are gone.
Wow.
And 3 people passed and said, you know what, it's just not for me, which great. Thank you so much for being honest and letting us know, because that opens up a couple more spots and, get a few people taken care of here and there. And there's always... When you're going to shows, there's people throwing names, putting them on a list. Sometimes you forget to record things. There's 1 or 2 people that you don't want to, let out of the mix, and they're really excited about it. And hey, wait a minute, I didn't get the email. Uh-oh, we missed somebody. Well, okay, spots just open, so we can kind of help and fill. And It's chaos. It's just insane.
I can imagine. You guys are all okay. So let's talk about the game. The artwork has been kind of a slow reveal. We had seen the backglass artwork sort of revealed a couple months ago, maybe. So we knew sort of the vibe of this was gonna be dark. This wasn't gonna be cartoony Rob Zombie. This is gonna be a dark horror themed game. We now see the complete package. Many people are going on record on the internet saying this might be the best cabinet side art on any pinball in all of the times.
It's 2015, man. That's a lot of games. Do you really think it's that good?
I'll tell you honestly, me personally, it's not my style of just preference of art, but
let's wait here, Nate.
But
now,
even with that,
weeks ago, you told me, you know what, this is probably not for me. I'm more than likely going to pass my game, but, hey, I appreciate you guys, what you do. But what did you do today?
I'm in on the game, and I'll tell you why I'm in. Okay, so I will say this: the artwork. I knew what the artwork style was going to be because we all looked up Alex Horley when we heard that he was the artist, and we sort of got a vibe for it. So I knew what it was going to be like. Which honestly, I'm not like anti that at all. Teresa's probably more quote anti that because she just likes nice happy things, and I'm just sort of more like But the quality of what's on this art package, it transcends what it is. It doesn't matter to me that it's crazy apocalyptical zombie Rob Zombie. He's like zombie Rob Zombie, if that makes sense. Like shooting holes through scary Skeletor monster guy. I don't even know what all of it is. I just know it's really, really well done. And so the artwork's a win for me. Absolute win for me. I was a very big fan of your idea of the initial Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave layout. I loved the idea. I thought the execution was maybe a little off for like a $5,000 or $6,000 pinball machine.
You were correct.
Okay, and it was hard to tell you that back at the time because I knew how excited you were about the design of the game. So it was kind of like, well, okay, and I didn't know you all that well a couple years ago. So I was like, hey, I like what you're going for. And I hoped that you would have, over the course of the years, and you'd basically told me this, that you saw that it needed maybe some more things to shoot at, maybe a little refinement. And then I was hoping that, coupled with the art package, coupled with, working with a licensor like Rob Zombie, who seemed so involved, would get to a spot, which I think is where you got to this really unique layout game that harkens back to, like, I don't know, I was talking to Josh Sharp about it earlier. It's sort of like, find me a layout like this, you're going to have to go way back to, like, game plan? Like exposed pop bumpers, asymmetrical stuff all around. I mean, what is the influence of this layout?
Good question. And again, going back to Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave, when it was a mistake. It was flat. Not the game itself wasn't a mistake. It's still fairly what I intended the layout to be. Taking it to the Midwest Gaming Classic that rushed was a mistake, and we won't do that again. I would much rather take the time to polish and let guys like Alex Horley do what they do, and just refine it to the point where Rob Zombie is now. And again, I'm absolutely thrilled that it's not getting shredded because it is not a fan layout.
No.
Where's the inspiration from it? I love Fathom. I love Centaur. I love games that are just not a fan layout, very simple, very unique, but at the same time, I fully understand in 2015 you're not going to be able to sell a lot of games like that. They've got to have more to them. And the thing I think that I wound up kind of clashing, so to speak, with was I had physical ball locks and just kept it very simple in Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. As soon as you take away that ability to have the fast-flowing multi-ball and kind of the wilder action that everybody is used to on modern games, you're definitely going to hurt your market. And I'll admit it. I was wrong. It plays better now. We've got an auto launcher in the game. There is anywhere from 1 to 7 balls going at a time, depending on the mode. We took the physical ball lock out, and Ben Heck and I finally got to the point where I was like, Ben, come on down. We spent a weekend just kind of thrashing on the Pinball Zombies layout. We needed more flow, and I know I needed more flow. So basically what we wound up doing was removing that physical ball lock, putting a drop target on one side and an up post on the other. And as soon as you get that drop target cleared, you now have 5 flowing shots through that game that are just very much in the player's control. They're hard to hit, but if you're a good player, you can get that ball consistently back to your flippers, even though there's 4 slingshots, even though there's 3 pop bumpers that are not 3.5 inches apart like on every freaking game for the last 20 years.
Yep.
It takes a lot of skill to play this game. It is really, really brutal. If you fail, that ball is going to get out of your control very quickly. I would kind of like to see this get into a tournament somewhere because, it's if you're a good player, you can sit there and spam this thing fairly well. I'm fairly convinced of that, and I'm medium to average, whatever. I like that.
Yeah.
It's just different. And that upper playfield, there was a few people on Pinside that commented on it today. I do feel like I need to explain that. There is one post in the middle of 2 switches. We tried that thing in 10 different configurations. That entire playfield design is actually Dennis Nordman's original design, and we hacked everything out of it that Dennis did almost, to an extent.
Yeah.
We could never get it to play where I was happy with it. I finally got to the point where I ripped all the ball guides out of it. It was feeding the flipper too easily. It was just so easy to beat that thing. And it got boring very quickly. And just stuck a post in it and said, whoa, geez, kind of joking to myself. Can't get much simpler than this. And started playing it. And oh my God, it just made all the difference in the world. You can backhand the lanes. You can accidentally clip the lanes when you don't mean to, which will actually hurt you in some modes.
Interesting.
And at the same time, if you get the flow going around to the right and over to Spalding and back down to the flipper, it is very controllable. And it just plays great. And I really hope that people give it a chance and get a chance to play it before they kind of.
Okay, explain to me something. How does the ball get up there? I'm looking at the pictures now, and I'm a little lost on how we get up into that upper playfield.
Sure. Basically what it is you shoot the left orbit, and if you hit a nice solid left orbit shot, be careful, there is a slingshot at the entrance to that orbit, and that will send you into chaos as well. But a solid left orbit shot takes you up to the upper playfield.
Okay, so it does ramp up behind the center ramp that kind of...
There's a VUK that throws it up onto that upper...
Oh, okay, I see. So
it's basically like a broken orbit shot. That ball will go back to your right flipper from the left orbit, just like any other game. It's just interrupted.
Gotcha. Okay, I see. And so, did you open up an orbit of sorts compared to Pinball Zombies? Is there a shot?
No, that shot was always there.
Okay, that's like that. All right. And is there an inner loop shot now?
Yes, that shot was the ball lock shot.
That's right.
And yeah, that is completely different now. I mean, essentially the workings of it are the same. It's a bit different mechanically inside because I knew my guys were going to struggle with getting the ball guides consistent to keep that inner orbit going properly, because at the back of it, similar to Scared Stiff, there is a secret passage shot too, and that's also where the ball drains in from up above when you shoot past Spalding. So if you shoot that left orbit and you don't quite make it all the way to the VUK and up to the upper playfield, you can complete a mode if you have the mode started by entering the secret passage. If you don't make it all the way over to the VUK, the ball can come down on the right-hand side orbit and fall into the slings. So technically you can go 3 different spots off that left orbit, depending on how well you hit the shot.
Is that up kicker in the far back right corner of the game?
It is in the far back right corner.
And that's what I see with the little wire form behind the fried chicken sign.
Yep. Solid shot will get you to the upper playfield.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Tell me about the giant scary robot that's above the target with the number 1 in front of it.
We are really proud of that. That is Rob's mascot that he has on stage all the time. And in our game, he is basically the skill shot. It's still got the triple skill shot that was in Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. That was one of my favorite features. If you can soft launch the ball onto the upper left slingshot, just sounds weird to say, that will give you 50,000 points, and you do a little damage to the robot. If you can kick it from there to the upper right slingshot, you've done more damage, and if you can kick it from there to the pops, so basically it's left, right, pops, you will destroy the robot and knock his head off on our beautiful color display. And the robot will physically start shaking, and we're proud of that. He's got a little tiny mini servo inside of a pop bumper body that we struggled with for months until I've put that together one day, showed it to Ben, and he's like, wow, simple, and it works. And we still have a light in the pop bumper. So he's got a nice eerie green glow. He turns, he moves, he can interact with the ball, he can follow the ball coming off the upper playfield, and I don't know what all Mr. Fosma, our programmer, is going to do with him, but he'll do more.
Okay, how about the Living Dead Girl, I don't know, toy? Is that the right word? I hate to use the word toy, but I guess that's what it is.
Sure.
Talk to me about that. What's the integration there going to be like?
She is behind a smoked, reverse-printed acrylic panel, and she's got an RGB LED in front of her. Basically, when you... She's a little difficult to see in the game until you get Living Dead Girl mode, which is the two center coffin targets that are just to the left of the ramp, pretty much dead center on the playfield. But as you hit those targets, you'll start the Living Dead Girl mode, and the RGB targets basically kind of animate her, for lack of a better word, in time with the music. And as you hit the targets, you can add a ball. And again, Living Dead Girl, it starts in a 2-ball multi, and you can run it all the way up to a 7 if you are that good, which I definitely have never done.
That's awesome. So you're working with Matt from Back Alley Creations on all these toys?
He's an amazing dude.
Yeah, it's pretty high quality stuff, it looks like, from the photos and video we've seen today.
You know, to go from a 3D printed Ghost, which was cool, to having, like, again, lack of a better word, real toys in the game is just phenomenal. And Matt worked very hard on all of that stuff. Him and his buddy Garrett helped sculpt like the skull pile, and Spalding is articulated bobbleheadish. So as you bash him with the ball, his head shaking back and forth, and Sid Haig says some incredibly vulgar Captain Spaulding-ish things back to you. Yeah, the toys are absolutely incredible.
What was the final approvals like with Rob? I know I listened to your last podcast, and you and KT talk a lot about how everything goes through Rob. He is all about, having final say. He redid one of the logos. What was the final conversations like before the big reveal?
It was a little bit of a struggle getting the launch video approved. He wasn't real thrilled with the sound of his voice. And I think it was just because we had him so clean, and he wasn't used to it. Gotcha. So, little reverb, a little pinball noise in the background, and he was very clear. We've got a ton of speech recorded for this game, and I think what we're going to wind up doing is kind of like the old Spider-Man insult level with J.K. Simmons, where you can,
sure,
go into the menu and adjust from moderate to heavy. He doesn't want to hear himself all that much in the game, and God bless him, he did a ton of dialogue for the machine. So I think we'll make that an adjustable setting.
Yeah,
but I love what he did.
When was the decision to go to a color DMD made? Because I know I kind of knew about that for a while since I saw you in Madison. When did that happen? Were there any reservations, or was it just like, yep, got to go color?
We'd been flirting with that for quite a while, off and on. We had messed with it a little bit on America's Most Haunted. Well, by we, I mean Ben. And it just never really came together. It wasn't affordable. We had looked at Color DMD, which is an expensive... It's a fantastic product, but for a production standpoint, it's fairly expensive. So we began to look at different options, and between Ben and Parker Dillman, our engineer down at Macrofab, and with some help from Terry and Scott Denisi, we managed, between the three of us, to kind of put the package together. And I think it looks really, really good. I kind of wish we'd have been able to go taller with it, more like kind of like what Lebowski did.
Yep, more like the Sega size.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure on the next game we will. But at this point, everything had pretty much been engineered to the glass and the speaker panels and everything else, and it was just a little too late to kind of utilize it fully. So we kind of ran it more like a Williams replacement color DMD kind of thing.
Very cool.
But it's great in the game. I love it. And David Van Ness is our dots guy down in Texas, and the guy he's a transplanted Australian. We absolutely love him. He did all our launch video and our premiere video and everything else, and he's doing all the dots in the game. Ben did a wonderful Dragula video mode.
I saw that. I saw
really cool.
Smashing little creatures and wiping the gore off the windshield. Mm-hmm. Love it.
There's some hidden things in there too, by the way. Well, I'm not going to talk about it. You'll just have to see it.
You're not talking about like multicolored rabbits, are you? There's no secrets in this world, Charlie. Anyway, so you got a week to get your approvals if you're on the list. When do you expect to start? Because you guys are building a factory. You're putting a factory up in Benton, Wisconsin. You bought a piece of land for $1.
I did.
It's a good way to go if you can figure it out. It looks like based on Facebook posts, you're getting really far along on the factory. Are you going to start? I mean, when does that happen? When are you moving in? When are you building games?
Well, I just threw if you go to our Facebook page, I just threw a picture of Squirrel Mutt out walking around on our new floor. I think she's kind of trying to figure out where we're going to put her beanbag chair. Literally Monday, construction starts on the walls, and our contractor tells us 2 weeks to get that up. They're going to spray foam insulate the living bejeebus out of it because this is Wisconsin and it gets very cold. And another week for the interior. And supposedly right around the 1st of January, which is optimistic this time of year trying to do construction, we should be moving in.
That's amazing.
It is. It's ridiculous. I can't believe
so you won't have to build any America's Most Haunted in the new factory. You'll complete those in the current facility.
No. We're probably going to wind up building the last handful of America's Most Haunteds in there, which is fine. That'll help us get the production kind of flowing for Rob Zombie. The goal right now is, and we were hoping to have it done by January 1st. It's just we had a little bit of employee turnover. We've had, there's holidays, everything that happens to normal businesses. Yeah, it's going to be mid to late January by the time it's done, and then Rob Zombie will kick in right after.
That's awesome. Where are you at on AMHs? You told me you're selling a game tonight.
Well, Chris Ward is standing right behind me. Chris, you ready to pick up your game?
Hey, Nate. Yes, I am.
What's up, Chris? Chris is a good dude.
What number game you got, Chris?
115 or 117?
He's like 115 or 117, but we've shipped beyond that. Basically, there's like 25 games left to go.
Fantastic.
And there are probably half a dozen games sitting over there next to Chris's that are all in final testing. So,
all right, I don't want to keep you from Chris, but I do want to ask you quickly while I got you here. The Domino's Pizza pinball machine.
Sure.
So that kind of leaked out, and I've met Adam from Domino's as well, and he's a super enthusiastic guy, really nice guy, really smart guy. And
yes, he is.
I think this whole project has taken, from what I can tell, like everybody involved slightly by surprise. It took, I think, you by surprise. I don't think you thought that anybody buy Domino's Pizza pinball machine. I think,
no, but I'm kind of shocked how many people have actually, hey, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I think Adam was even surprised that somebody outside the Domino's organization would be interested. He was like, what? Why would you want to buy this? And then I think it took just the whole pinball community by surprise, like, they're building a what? With a what? From what? What are your thoughts on the launch of that product, the success of getting enough pre-orders to go forward, and the fact that game number 3 from Spooky will be the Noid chasing around trying to destroy pizzas?
Now, I won't call it game number 3 from Spooky.
Oh, okay. So we're going to call this like 2B or something like that? Or like...
We'll call it... I call it contract manufacturing.
Oh, okay. All right.
And who's to say we wouldn't be doing a little more of that in the future?
No, I think it's great. I think it's fantastic myself.
Oh, I do too. I mean, absolutely. To have a company like Domino's, which they're all independently owned and operated, it's a wonderful, from what I've learned, I did deliver pizzas for them back in like 1985, 86.
Full circle.
Yeah. But to kind of get the chance to work with a major corporation like that for a tiny little company like us, and I, like you, when I met Adam, I thought, wow, great, wonderful, super nice, enthusiastic guy, but I've been involved in about 10 different projects similar to this that went absolutely nowhere. So we'll see what happens. But that man stayed after it and really did make it come together. I'm excited about it, man. It's great. It's guaranteed employment, it's guaranteed jobs, and it's guaranteed learning.
You get to design another game.
Yeah, exactly. We're going off of, and Adam and his buddy Dan are kind of giving me ideas. This is what we'd like to see, and okay, yeah, we realize that this isn't a budget and it isn't a time crunch, and it's probably not going to be like a Wizard of Oz or anything, but that doesn't mean we can't make it fun. And again, it's experience, it's guaranteed jobs and work, and that's what we need to keep growing. So. It was a no-brainer for us. There was no way we were going to turn that down.
Will there be an opportunity for the pinball community at large to weigh in and possibly purchase that game?
Yeah, if they want to. I think Adam has made that very clear from the beginning. If you seriously do want a Domino's pizza game, and a portion of that is going to a nice little internal Domino's charity where they kind of help take care of their own, you can do that. You can buy one. I know Terry at Pinball Life. He's all in. He wants one.
Yeah, I think there will be a number of people that want to buy every game you make. I think that'll be out there.
Everybody likes to have something that's a little more unique and different, and that certainly will be... the only game I can even think of that even comes close to that is the Canada Dry EM game from back in the 70s.
Yeah. There may be something else. I'd have to think about it, but it's a unique opportunity, and I can tell you, I was chatting with some folks from another pinball company who will remain nameless, and they asked me sort of like, so what's up with that? And I told them, and they said, that is so great. And I was a little not shocked that they said great, but I said, really, why is it great in your opinion? They said, because we love the idea of a company like Domino's attaching itself to pinball, so other companies and other businesses might say, oh, pinball's awesome. Pinball's cool. We want to be a part of pinball. And it's the whole rising tides raises all ships. It's good for everybody in the industry.
Exactly, and there was another little partner company with Domino's that I don't believe I'm stepping on any toes or anything, but Coca-Cola stepped in and said, hey, we're in all your locations. We'll chip in and help on the development costs and stuff. So are you kidding me? We're working with Domino's and Coca-Cola from Benton, Wisconsin.
Excellent. That's so great.
Oh my God, it's huge.
So I guess with the success today of Rob Zombie, there's not a lot of you're not looking for a sales manager there at Spooky Pinball, are you? That's kind of like the job not needed, it seems like.
Katie might be looking for a little psychiatric help to get her through the rest of the weekend. And what's sad is we're taking off this weekend. We had already had plans to go out of town, and just again, it was approvals and timing, and this is where it landed. And so we launched it today as we needed to. But by the time here's my prediction. We gave everybody 7 days on it, so that takes us to next Friday. I'm going to bet by next Sunday or Monday it's completely sold out.
Wow. So I'm thinking there's probably if you're in the top 400, you have a shot. Top 350, a real shot. Past 400, probably not much of a shot.
Yeah, you never know, but that's probably pretty realistic.
Well, I mean, good for you guys. Congratulations. It's for a family that really, gave up their day jobs to build pinball machines. This is about as great of an outcome as we could have hoped for. You guys are guaranteed to be building games for the next. How long is it going to take to build 300 games? Year and a half?
We're seriously shooting for 18 months, and that is a bit of a tall order. That might be one of my predictions that I missed terribly on. I hope not. And at the same time, we have to set up a small second line because we are not going to interrupt Rob Zombie to do Domino's, and Domino's knows that. They have realistic schedules that we need to meet. So we're going to be hiring. We're going to be training. We're going to be, moving into the new shop and just doing everything we can to get the job done.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, Charlie. I'm really happy for you guys, and it looks great. I'm excited to get it, to play it, to chase that hellbound, wizard mode that I see there. That sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I cracked 28 million on it last night playing with our programmer, Mr. Fosma, and that was about the best game I've ever had. I was kind of shooting for 100 million would be a great score. And yeah, Hellbound is probably right about that 100 million mark.
I need to go ahead and get to the wizard mode on AMH before I even think about Hellbound, I think. Cause,
you and me both.
Yeah,
I've done it playtesting about 50 times, but never with the glass on.
I was somewhere, and somebody who had done it started talking about it, and I just walked away real fast. I'm like, don't ruin it for me. Someday I'll get there.
We had a guy email me yesterday. His buddy was playing at an arcade on the East Coast, Northeast Coast, and beat Demon Battle, got to like a second video mode, and the game locked up. So we found a bug like in a spot that I would never see in a million years.
Pinball's booming, and good players are gaining. That's awesome. That's awesome. Charlie, thanks for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it, and as always, best of luck, and I can't wait to see these games start rolling off the new factory line.
Can't thank you enough for the support, Nate. You kind of shocked me when I saw your name pop up on Katie's confirmed list today. I won't be lying.
Been a good year in the sales business.
It's been a good year in the pinball business. I think we're both going to be securing our jobs in 2016 is what you're telling me?
I think so. Things are good. Things are
And
happening.
again, you were talking about the money before. We took deposits, but we're not getting paid until we get those games out the door.
Oh, the math with Nate I was doing on what $59.95 times 300 is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love chasing that paycheck, man. That's what keeps you hungry and working hard.
Very true. Very true. Well, it's awesome, and I love it. I think it's great for the whole industry that you guys are so successful, and man, all the best.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it greatly.
Yep. Thanks, Charlie.
Yep.
Pretty hard not to be a fan of Charlie, KT, and the whole crew at Spooky Pinball. Very excited. So, just to give my own thoughts on the game, and I will say this. The side art and the cabinet art of this game are going to probably be fairly legendary in pinball lore, because they brought in this artist. He clearly knocked it out of the park. It's pretty amazing, and if you're into this sort of aggressive, dark, brooding horror type artwork, this is just, it is simply a masterpiece. And there's a poll up on Pinside tonight as I'm recording the show. Is Rob Zombie Spook Show International have the best artwork ever? Let's just show poll results. I won't even vote. It says no, 74% no, 26% yes. 1 out of 4 people answering this poll do say yes. I will tell you I am lukewarm on the actual playfield. I think the cabinet art is fantastic. I think that the back glass is really awesome. I really like the Rob Zombie portrait that is between the flippers down in the lower quarter of the game. I think that's awesome. I like the kind of the hair that rises up and moves towards the center. I like the plastic work. It seems fine. I like the witch on there, but there's some scale issues with the gravestone and the witch, and I don't know. I don't really love the middle of this, and I'm not the only one to say that. I've seen some people sort of mention that too. There seems to be a lot of emptiness up above the grave marker. It says zombie, and you know what? They probably were going for that. They're probably going for like this, dark. And I kind of like the color scheme because it's something I don't think we've seen in pinball really before. After Rob's head, it kind of goes from a red to the gray of the tombstone into like this, stone mossy green color, and then there's inserts and the witch flying across. And I think that works. I think I would have liked to have seen the zombie gravestone just be bigger, and maybe you can't see the entire outline of it, but it's just sort of implied with the arc of it, possibly, or I don't know. There's just something there that I don't fully love. There's a cohesiveness that I'm not. I don't know. It to me, it's not perfect. Whereas I think the cabinet art for that presentation and what they're going for this war, this apocalyptical horror zombie monster war, is kind of perfect. And there's no writing on it. It's just this scene playing out, which is pretty interesting. I think the playfield art for me is like I don't know. I love that it's hand-drawn. I love that it's original, so that's got a great thing happening. I like the color schemes. I like the mood. So, I don't know. I'm kind of like a 7 out of 10 there. Whereas I would give the side cabinet art 10 out of 10. That's going to go up against anything ever in pinball. So, my thought on this, and I was actually texting with Josh Sharp, friend of the show, Josh Sharp, about this game. And, there's open pop bumpers in this game. There's pop bumpers that are not in a cluster, like you heard Charlie talking about on the call there. You think of pop bumpers in a game, and generally there's 3 pop bumpers, and they're in a little section, sort of in like a little cove in a collective, and you get that, classic pop bumper action where the ball is caught between 2 or 3 pop bumpers just rattling around. Well, this layout harkens back to older games. Look at a game like Cyclops, where you have a pop bumper down by the flippers, which completely randomizes gameplay, and you have a pop bumper sort of scattered, a layout of pop bumpers, and that's neat. And so you have a lot of that sort of vibe going with this layout. There are not just the 2 slingshots in the typical spot. There are 4 slingshots. There's a slingshot up above the left slingshot. So that left wall, which on a lot of games would simply be a ball guide or maybe stand-up targets. So think like Walking Dead, where there's stand-up targets on the left. That's a slingshot, which is very cool. So think about like games like Black Hole and other games from that era where there were slingshots all around, and many EM games had that sort of thing going on. And then there's another one across it that's angled at a completely different angle. So I think that this game is going to be very, very unique in a sea full of fan layouts. And you know what? Look, there's a lot of fan layouts in pinball for a reason. They are proven to be fun and to be suitable for rule sets and fast and furious gameplay where you have a relative amount of flow and shot making, et cetera, et cetera. There is going to be some randomness to this game, and I think when you couple the mood and the life under glass, we'll use that kind of old quote there, that they're creating with this Rob Zombie Spook Show International world, I think it's something really unique, and potentially this could be very, very amazing. The risk here is you're spending $6,000 on a game based on some pretty short videos and some artwork. And I think, for a lot of collectors, a lot of people in pinball, they're buying something that's going to be a fun game to play and has good artwork that they like or a theme they like, and that's all they want. And that's fine. You have some people who don't really care what the theme is and just want a great playing game with nice rules, or just something that has that ability to bring you back to the start button over and over again, and that's fine too. You have other people who think we're all crazy having never played this game, and some people will literally never play this game till it lands on their door, and they think that's absolute insanity that you could do that. But when you're looking at a game like this, you're dealing with a small independent company. There's always a level of risk to this. We've seen all the crash and burn stories, but I believe it's a pretty safe bet, I think, with the company and with getting this game, that even if you don't fall in love with it, I think there's going to be a great aftermarket for it. Whereas, we saw some games in the past few years, I'm thinking of like some of the like Stern limited editions where people probably thought, oh, fairly safe bet. You ended up taking a hit on some of those. Whereas if you got in on, I don't know, AC/DC Back in Black, you did really good. So there's always these kind of like, the business side of buying a game that you have to look at. I really believe that it's great for pinball to have multiple companies shipping games. I really believe that. It's been amazing watching the rise of Spooky Pinball to be sort of the preeminent, small shop boutique builder. I think Jersey Jack has a chance at holding out that firm number 2 spot as the number 2 pinball company in the world. If they can get the Hobbit out and get these games all shipped and move on to the Pat Lawler game, that's fantastic. And then you have Stern sitting here as the company that carried everyone through the pinball dip, the recession in pinball, if you will, the depression in pinball, if you will. Stern survived. They carried it on their backs, and they are, top of the heap, selling the bulk of the machines being made in the world and doing a fantastic job, I think. I mean, their recent run of games has been very good. Despite maybe a few games that haven't hit me personally, top notch. When you look at Metallica, you look at The Walking Dead, you look at Star Trek, you look at now Game of Thrones. When the weak game is WrestleMania, which is a game I kind of give a little gruff to and don't really connect with. Even though I defended the theme, I'm not one who just didn't, like the wrestling theme. I defended that theme. I haven't fallen in love with the gameplay or the rule set. When that's the kind of the worst case scenario, I think you're in pretty good shape. So, the fact that Spooky Pinball is going to sell $1.8 million of Rob Zombie pinball machines here at the end of 2015, start of 2016, that's fantastic for all of us in this great hobby. And I'm really enjoying talking about it. That's going to be episode 209. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing Charlie talk about it. We could get more into the Domino's pinball thing. I owe you guys an episode. There's some topics floating around in the world that I do want to touch on. Just really quickly, I will tell you this. The Domino's pinball thing, that's just another good sign for pinball. That's a healthy thing to see in the industry, and I'm really happy that that's going down. We'll get into the artwork situation and the contest and quote and all that at episode 210, which will come sooner than later. But until then, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate all the great feedback we've had over the last few weeks. We'll get to some emails next episode. Take care of yourselves, be nice to each other, and play more pinball.